and welcome to WRPB and WRPB Studios. You know, technology is one of those things that on a Monday it could be in point B, and on Tuesday it could be at point M. It's changing constantly. And for you guys and me, we kind of like to stay ahead of the curve, and we do that by dealing with professionals. Like I tell you, always use a professional. Okay, if you want a job done, you want it done right, use a professional. It'll cost you 5 times more if you don't use a professional, and 20 times more in aggravation. With me is Jurgen from ACT Computers.
Correct.
I get it right?
Yes, you did.
All right. Thank God I got past that.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Okay, so what is ACT Computers?
ACT Computer stands for Advanced Computer Technology, and we're an IT company based out of Vero Beach, Florida, and we've been in there for about 28 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
So really, you're kind of like the head of the curve back 28 years ago.
Yes.
Because when people say to me, well, who's your viewership? I said, when I started, my views were doctors, lawyers, and business people, because no one else had high-speed internet.
Yes.
So that's what it was. So I'm going to ask you this, even though I know the answer, and any of you guys who don't know the answer, I don't get it. Have you seen changes since you started? I could have said to you.
Yes.
So from yesterday to today, have you seen changes in the industry? And you would tell me yes.
Oh,
but
dramatically.
From 28 years ago, what kind of changes have you really seen?
Oh, I mean, I started with computers when I was 6 years old in Germany on Commodore 64, like everybody. Okay. And since then, obviously, things have changed quite dramatically.
Right.
So, and the market is expanding, and things are getting easier for the consumer, but they're getting more difficult for the technician to handle.
Okay, so why did you even get into it?
I always liked this. My father used to work in the field, and he always brought things home with him.
Okay.
And I was tinkering around, taking them apart, putting them back together, and we say, you know what, this is cool.
See, my dad would always say to me, because like you, I would take things apart, and he'd always go to me, you looking for where the feet grow? And then I always put it back together.
Yeah.
And there's probably a piece that didn't make it back in there, but just say, I wasn't a professional.
Right.
And when I graduated high school, I had a scholarship to what was RCA, now it's TCI for electronics. Did that for a little bit, but I'm not one that could just sit constantly, like, I don't know how you have the patience to sit and look at that screen and work on it makes me crazy. Yeah. Okay, so for me, it just wasn't the thing.
Right.
Okay, so a lot of changes come about. What do we see in the future?
Future, we see quite a bit of happening when it comes to virtual reality, VR. Or we know Meta is exploring that quite a bit. Facebook's new name.
Right.
So the Web 3.0 that they're talking about even more technology on the internet. And,
well, when you say Web 3.0, what do we have now? Web 2.0?
Kinda. We're kind of in between, I'd say.
Okay.
So the infrastructure is not really there yet to support everything we want to do in the future. It's not there yet. But we're also talking about, more cloud computing. Everything's being cloud, basically meaning online. That's all it really means. It's just a fancy name for that. If you used webmail in the past, you used the cloud. So that's the same thing. So
well, I talk about people, if, when you're in a big office, okay, and you're from computer to computer, that's like cloud-based, right? Local.
Yeah, local intranet, local internet.
Right.
Yeah.
I bought a 4 gig cloud for my office.
Right.
And the reason I bought it was because I was very uncomfortable with sending all my information somewhere and not knowing who's going to break into it or whatever.
Right.
How secure is the cloud?
Well, it depends what kind of company you pick. So obviously, if you pick a larger company that's reputable, it's very safe. It's the same kind of encryption as you'd use for banking or any kind of transaction you go through with eBay or stuff like that. So it's a very high-end encryption that's very safe to you. Obviously, if you pick a lesser known company, then there's less security.
Ah, interesting. So has eBay ever been hacked?
I'm not sure. I don't work there, but
have any of those big companies been hacked?
I think eventually something goes down wherever. Everything is made by humans.
Right.
There's problems everywhere, and something, as we just saw with cryptocurrency and stuff like that, there's always something going on. There's always issues that we define later on, little security holes. But as long as we keep patching these things and we're ahead of the curve, things are fine.
Here's the thing for me. I go out today and I buy a computer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and tomorrow it's outdated.
Not that fast, no.
Well, you know what I'm saying.
I know.
Basically, tomorrow it's
I know.
outdated. My first computer was an 8088, I think.
XT.
Okay,
Nice.
and it had, I think, 80 meg of hard drive.
If you had a hard drive, that's good
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah,
I didn't have one.
It was 80 meg, I think, something like that. Today, you couldn't even boot that up with 80 meg.
No.
Okay, so are the programs that people are buying and making just getting more and more, eating up more and more space?
Of course, yeah. I mean, in the past, as a term came around in the 90s called bloatware. So you have a software that keeps being bigger and bigger. So because, we don't have manuals anymore included with, you used to buy a computer, you
Right.
get a manual with it. Now it's all within the same program.
You can't buy a vacuum cleaner and not have to look up
So
the
all
info.
that is contained within the same program. But also they have more and more features. So it's, like Word, for example, used to fit on a floppy disk. Now, it's a gigantic program. But that's how things are working. And nowadays, space is really not a thing to be concerned about anymore. Now, space on your computer is so cheap, drive space. So,
Yeah, but you still have to upgrade each time if that's the path you're going to go.
Yeah. But nowadays we have 12 terabyte, 20 terabyte hard drives. So that's
Built into the computers?
into the machine. Yes.
Oh.
One drive, 12 terabyte.
I mean,
That's
I'm
amazing.
like, hey, look, 1T, that's good. We're doing good. But you still see 500 gig
Oh yeah.
computers being
of
sold.
Course. Yeah.
A 500 gig computer laptop, for argument's sake.
Right.
I mean, how much life does it really have?
Well, 500 gigabyte is getting like the limit right now. When first, like nowadays, we don't really use hard drives anymore. We switched to solid state hard drives, which are based on memory only, sort of mechanical hard drives, like a record player, about 5-6 years ago, because we still build our own
Right.
computers. And 250 was a start. That was too small. Now 500 is a little too small, because once you start installing Windows 11 Pro, for example, put in QuickBooks, put in Office, some other programs, your data, getting close to 300-400 gigabytes.
Wow.
So you're getting closer to the limit. So
Right.
right now, I would say the best price performance is a 1 terabyte drive. That should be what you should be
The minimum
aiming
that you should look
yes,
for.
Yes.
Okay, so now my next question becomes, out of all these years, what was the worst Windows that you've seen?
There were several. I had to say it. Well, obviously Windows ME, that was very bad.
Okay.
Windows Vista.
Yeah, that was a big one. I skipped over Windows Vista. I didn't even change.
And we all remember Windows 8. I think that was the biggest disaster out of all of
What
them.
was before Windows 8? Windows 7?
Windows 7.
I have a computer with Windows 7 on it now at home.
Yep.
And I still use it and I won't upgrade it because it's so comfortable for me to use.
Exactly.
And I don't, it's not that I store a lot of stuff on there.
Oh, yeah.
And I have an external drive. I have a
Right.
couple external drives, but
Right.
that's a desktop. So that has a 1T in it now.
Right.
I did put a 1T in it.
Right.
But I'm so comfortable using it.
Right.
I don't want to check when every time they upgrade, it's like, you got to learn something new. I don't want to learn anything new. I'm old.
Well, the thing is, it's like I always have the analogy. It's like you're buying a new car. Okay, you expect your steering wheel to be the same spot, your gas pedal to be in the same spot. Okay, so when Windows 8 came about, they threw everything out and said, no, we're not going to have a start menu anymore, where you start and run your programs and navigate through your machine. We'll have a screen with all kinds of icons, and everybody will be using a touch screen. That didn't happen. So then Windows 10 came about, they finally moved the start menu back where it's supposed to be.
Right.
Sadly now Windows 11 has it back in the middle, but you can move it to the left.
Oh, yeah.
That's a welcome option right there.
Okay, so let's go back into what ACT does. So let's start from the simple. I'm opening up a bagel store and I want to put computers in. Do I come to you? You can build what I need to
Yes.
fit in what I need.
Yeah, so we supply, implement servers. We build servers in-house, or we use Lenovo. And we also still build our computers since 1995. We're still building our own desktop computers out of the parts that we like and we know they hold up over time.
Okay.
And so we have a team of 9 technicians right now. We come out to you, set up everything, transfer your data, get it up and running, train you, and get you up and working.
Okay. Next step. What happens when Mary's she didn't get her computers from you, but she calls you up and says, my computer's hacked. This is a virus, or I don't know, because I don't know computers.
Right.
Do you come out?
Yes, we come out immediately. Business normally we come out within 2 hours, even
Okay.
without a contract. We're not big into contract deals like that. We have technicians on the road all day long, and we also have a storefront, which is unusual. We actually have a real storefront.
Where's your storefront?
We're right in the old Kmart Plaza in Vero Beach,
Okay.
right next to Majestic and the post office, and 3,000 square foot place,
Oh,
beautiful
wow.
area. Yeah,
So you handle all the technical issues.
all this stuff. Yeah,
You handle from the beginning, all the technical issues.
right.
So what I find is, because we're always researching here, and every so often I'll hear beep beep beep, and your computer's been hacked, and you have to call this number. Okay, and I shut down and boot back up, and it's gone.
Right.
So we have to be attuned to scammers.
Yes, sadly.
Okay,
Yes.
right, and it's not getting any better, right?
No, it's getting worse.
It's getting worse.
Yes.
I know that those are the ones that come to me and I shut down and reboot. But there are viruses that come up that you can't get rid of as a bagel owner.
Yeah, I mean, typically the old-fashioned a virus would sneak in the system is most of the time it's a user's actions. Okay, so most of the time it's always us. We download an attachment, a PDF or picture or video or something, or we follow some link. Or in the past we used to download games or screensavers that had some hidden stuff built in. And then all of a sudden we had something running we didn't know about, and that really infected the machine. Nowadays, that is kind of not that popular anymore. Now it's basically just emails offering you something, or a pop-up message saying, your machine's infected, you
Right.
need to call this number, we'll take care of you. And that's the problem right there. If you follow those instructions and you actually let them in your machine remotely, without checking who they are, then yes, that's where they get in your machine. And we deal with this every day. So.
No, I'm sure you do,
Yeah.
because I have a machine, and basically every so often I get that pop up, and
Right.
I just close down and reboot.
Yeah, normal
I don't
time
wanna-
this goes away, but once you start interacting with it and downloading, that's where you get in trouble.
Okay. There is a million software programs like Avast, Norton.
Right.
Which is the best in your opinion?
That's a tough question. That always changes every couple of years. So we used to be huge into Norton, but Norton teamed up with LifeLock, and there's a lot of stuff built in nowadays. So I'm not really a big fan of that anymore. For our corporate environment, for our customers, we use Avast Business,
Okay.
which is very, very
I
good.
still use Avast,
Right.
and I use iObits.
That's okay. We use a couple different tools internally too, but also like when we scan machines for customers, we go through it manually to seeing what's actually loading. You can't just rely on the software to scan these things. So you gotta look for things too.
It's interesting because what happens in programs is, hey, we have this for a free program in all the different programs, but for $12.95 a month, we can upgrade it for you. And then if you don't take that and you run the program, they'll find a couple of things there that the free version won't fix.
Right.
Does it pay to upgrade to a paid version?
100%. You get what you pay for in everything in life, obviously. So you need to make sure your virus protection is paid for, and the subscription, that's how it learns. Because when you buy a machine, a computer anywhere, you might get a 3-month subscription of virus protection.
Right.
That's good for 3 months. After that, it doesn't learn anything new anymore about the newest threats and problems out there. So you have to make sure you subscribe to their program, whatever it is you have, and keep it up to date. And that's how it works nowadays.
Okay, we're getting to the top of our time.
Sure.
How do people find you? You already gave your address. You're in Vero. You have a website?
Sure we do, yeah.
That's good.
Oh, good.
That shows me that you're into computers.
Yeah, the website is www.actcomp.us.
Why'd you go with .us?
.com was taken, so I took
Okay.
.us. And you can find us on Facebook and ACT Vero on Facebook, or just type in Google. It's all over the place.
You have a phone number?
Yes, 772-567-7888.
Okay, so even though our time is up, I want to ask you this.
Sure.
.com, if you can get a .com, is probably the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
But is it changing now? Because there's so many. .us, .tv,
Yeah.
.net, .co,
It's really just a matter of preference nowadays. There's more and more coming. But
Really?
.com is the most common one, obviously. If you
Right.
can, you should get ones that are normal, you know.
I remember when .mobi came.
Mhm.
And I bought a bunch of .mobis.
Mhm.
And I had bought 7 of them, and I ended up selling 2.
Uh-huh.
I had BOA.mobile,
Okay.
.mobi. And I got a call from them wanting to sue me,
Mm-hmm.
but they can't. But so they ended up settling with me and buying it. Today, when cannabis became big, I bought cannabisforus.com.
Uh-huh. Good.
I bought like 3 of them.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to get ready to sell them. You know, because I'm in the industry, we see these things coming about. Some come together, some
Yeah.
some don't. All right, real quick, phone number
772-567-7888.
and website.
www.actcomp.us.
Everybody, again, use a professional. Jurgen, I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
Everybody
for
have a
having me.
great day. We'll be right back.